You're listening to the T21 podcast, brought to you by Down Syndrome Group of the Ozarks. Our mission is to bring life and wellness to families who are advocating towards a community of inclusion for individuals with Down syndrome. Hello and welcome to the T21 podcast. My name is Chloe Jones and here with me today is Miss Amy Bullard.
Hello.
And some friends that I'll introduce in just a moment. But first, here on the T21 podcast, we explore topics that are relevant to the Down syndrome community in 21 minutes or less. And today we're going to be talking about teaching and supporting independence. But first, I just wanted to invite you to send this to your friends and family if you think that this would be something that they'd be interested in hearing. And if you're interested in another topic, you can drop it in the comment below. Okay, well, welcome. I wanted to introduce you as John and Tyson, but I'm figuring out that your name is actually Rosie, is what you go by.
Pretty much.
Do you want to just do a quick introduction and maybe why you're named Rosie? Yeah, you and Tyson both.
My nickname is Rosie because since 7th grade, basketball, Jarrett Junior High School, one of my best friends gave me that nickname, and it kind of stuck.
It stuck.
And this is my man, Tyson.
Tyson, we're so glad you're on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me.
And his nickname used to be Biscuit.
Biscuit?
Yeah, Biscuit.
How come your nickname was Biscuit?
Biscuit feet.
When he had little feet shaped like little biscuits.
Biscuit.
Yeah, feet.
I love that.
Well, we wanted to talk today about how, obviously, like I said a couple times, how you learned and how you taught independence and what that looked like for you because you were a firefighter.
Absolutely.
You're now retired.
Yep.
But do you want to talk a little bit about what that was like for you?
Sure. Tyson came to live with me full-time about halfway through his junior year in high school. So it was kind of a necessity because my schedule at the time, I was working 24 on, and I would be off 48 hours. So, it was like...
It's a long time for you to be alone.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so we had to figure out some things that he could do to make sure that he was safe for the full time that I was going on shift.
Yeah.
Because it's not like I could just drop everything and come home, if stub my toe or, I blocked myself out or, we had to do some things that kind of sped up the learning process. Mm-hmm. And its maturing process, probably the thing that was most difficult, and I'm sure it is for lots of parents, is something's going to happen, and me, I'm a worrywart. That's my thing. This is, this is my boys, you worry, but most of the time, bad things aren't going to happen. So, we worked on some of the basic stuff, what to do if there's an emergency. If you smell smoke and your smoke detectors go off, you get out of the house, you call 911, and then you call Daddy. Mm-hmm. We were fortunate. I call him my little brother. His Uncle Andy is close. My girl Sarah is pretty close. So if we needed to get to him, we could. Mm-hmm. But he needed to have a large play.
You couldn't just depend on them the entire time.
Right. Yeah. He was very much invested in being able to be independent. Mm-hmm.
In fact, he loved it.
Oh, absolutely.
He loved
Still
it.
Still does.
It was like, sometimes it would be like, Dad's home today. Instead of, oh, Dad's at work today. He liked that going home and him being able to do that.
But in the mornings, I would, I'd leave for work at 6 o'clock. So I'd go in there and wake him up, say, hey, man, I'm going to work. Okay. But...
Because you don't get up till 9, right?
No, but then he was in school with me. So.
Right. So when it was days he had to go to school, he set his alarm clock and he'd get up and he'd call me and let me know that he was up. He'd turn off the porch lights, he'd make his breakfast, take a shower, brush his teeth, get his stuff together, be ready when the bus got there, then he'd lock the door or go out the garage with the garage door opener, and he'd let me know that he was on the bus and he'd let me know when he got to school. And but there was lots of little things that we needed to do to make sure that he was comfortable with his independence, that he was you know, he wasn't worried. He wasn't worried.
Or stressed out.
Right. It worried me more than I'm sure it did him, you know, because he's kind of kicked back and, I'll be all right, Dad, don't bother me. And, you know.
Tyson, what were some things that you did to show your dad that you were safe?
You just talking to me?
Yeah.
Just relax.
He said that you maybe called him whenever you got to school.
Yes, I did. Call him every morning. Try to. And then sometimes I get up, do my things I needed it to do. And then I was good to go. So,
You were good
yeah.
to go. And then whenever you got home from school, what did you have to do?
Call my dad back and say, hey, Dad, I'm home and I'm safe. And don't you worry so much about me. But I love you, but thank you for being my dad.
Yeah. And a lot of that he still does, you know, even now, you know, before he goes to bed at night, he'll go around, make sure the doors are locked and make sure the front porch light and back porch light's on. And
That's so good.
He's a good young man.
So one of my favorite parts of your story has always been about the routine that you guys established. And it took time for you to figure out what you had to put in place. None of this happened overnight.
Right.
And so can you talk a little bit about that routine, even as much as like the meal prep?
Absolutely. Like I said, my schedule was, I was on 24 on, 48 off. So I had to make sure that, you know, he's not going to use the stove, he's not going to use the oven, you know, he's not going to go out back and light the barbecue grill. But the microwave is a very viable option for us. So we would meal prep the night before, so he'd have his, if it was a day on the weekend or something, you know, he'd have his lunch and his dinner, he could just throw in the microwave, be ready with that, you know, rinse his dishes, put his dishes in the dishwasher afterwards. But making sure that, you know, he didn't grab a pot that was, or a dish that was too hot, you know. Just thinking about, you know, I'm going to set the microwave for 3 minutes, but when I open the door, I'm going to make sure that the steam doesn't come out and burn me. Or when I'm scraping it off on the plate to get ready to eat, make sure it's not too hot. You know, make sure that I'm not going to put something that's metal in the microwave. You know, just, it's lots of little pieces that were continual training.
And as I kind of recall, there was notes attached to some of the food. Like you would put like a time on it.
Absolutely. Just to help make sure that he was on the right page with, you know, I don't want to put, you know, frozen pizza in there for 20 minutes on the microwave, you know, because then you... But he was very good about, you know, following directions and learning and then following the directions.
And I bet a big part of that is because you had room to.
Absolutely.
And room to be independent and know that you can count on yourself.
Right. And then he had alarms on his phone wasn't there like an alarm for shower time?
Yep. It say, probably need to think about getting in the shower about this time, you know. Getting close to bedtime, you know, time to get up in the morning, you know, it's but he still does very well with it. Toward the end of my career, you know, I was working on making sure my pension was all it could be, so I would work 48 on and 24 off, you know, so he would have 2 days of no dad, and I get a party,
Right.
you know, everybody said, what are you doing? I'm partying, But, you know, even those 2 days, it's a lot of stress for Dad. He was taught well, you know, and a lot of that comes from Miss Amy, you know, she had him in the base program. You know, he was
Thank you.
leaps and bounds, because so many parents don't want to let him go. I don't want to let him go and get married and have kids, and I know that's part of life, but you know I want him close to me. You know, and most parents they fear something's going to happen to him.
Yeah.
You got to let go some of that. You know, you got to let some. You know, I go to doctor appointments in St. Louis. You know, and I'll be gone for a day, and he's like, "Yeah, I got this." You know, he'll call me, let me know what he's going on, or text me. You know, he's not big on calling anymore because he's a cool guy. But
Right.
know, but
Tyson, when you first stayed by yourself the very first time for that 24 hours, what did you think? Were you scared? Were you nervous? Were you excited?
So glad to do it.
You're so glad to do it. What was your favorite part of that?
Well, let's see. I just like to be just growing up. Just want to get married, have my own kids someday. So
you had to prove that you could do some of those things, right?
Correct.
And you always were very safe. You always followed that routine that you and Dad put in place.
Yes, we did.
So
Yes.
that developed a trust for Dad. And I think I spilled some beans that maybe I wasn't supposed to spill earlier, but
Then don't do it.
Well, I already did. You already heard me. But whenever they first started this, I remember Rosie would drive the fire truck by the house and peek in the windows.
I'd make my guys bring me by and say, hey, we got to stop down here and check in the house real quick. And you know, even though it wasn't necessarily in my district, you know, sometimes we had to make some exceptions.
Right. Yeah. And he was always doing what he was supposed to be.
Absolutely.
So that built that trust.
Absolutely.
And I don't think you knew that he did that often.
No,
I think you knew sometimes.
Now you do.
But now you do. But he didn't disturb you. He didn't bother you. He just wanted to say, like, oh, yeah, he's doing it, right? And it made him proud of you for doing that.
You know, and with that, you know, watching TV, having a phone, you know, he knows what's appropriate and inappropriate, you know. So he can spend the whole day back in his room if he wants, except for coming out to eat, you know. And I don't have to worry about, you know, he's talking to somebody inappropriate on the internet or watching an inappropriate show.
Because that's a big worry for a lot of
absolutely,
parents.
absolutely. And as a dad, you know, you want to protect your kids, you know. My daughter's the same way, you know.
Yeah.
Of course, you know, she's 27, knows everything, but, you know, a man, I got to make sure that, you know, there's not somebody going to try to take advantage of him.
Right.
You know. But he has done well learning what is right and what is wrong, you know, and to embrace his ability to spend time on his own, you know. Because 48 hours is a long time, you know.
That is a long time. That would be a long time for me.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, I'm bored.
But, you know,
you like it, though.
But Tyson does, you know, he does the laundry, he does the dishes. You know, he sweeps the floors and mops the floors, runs the vacuum cleaner.
So that's the other part I was going to talk about. So he was a fire captain, right? So he would train these rookies on what they needed to do, because most of the time it was holding their hand to, like, you're going to cook your meals, you're going to clean your toilet, you're going to make your bed. And so he already had that. You already had that when Tyson came. So that was a natural flow for you to train Tyson to do these basic skills. And you always said, like, this is your house, and so like together it's our house, we're going to do these things instead of you just doing it all. And so I think that helped in that independence process, because he already had some fundamental skills built in, and so it wasn't just an all or nothing kind of thing.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot, you know, things that happen, you know, when we go buy a vehicle, you know, we pick it out, you know, we go buy furniture, you know, we pick it out, go to the grocery store, because, you know, we're Team Greer.
Right.
You know, and that's the way we look at it, you know.
That's so good.
The decisions both of us make impact each other. And it's not to shortchange the rest of the family, but, you know, we are with each other pretty much 24/7.
Right.
But, you know, meal planning, you know, Tyson, what do you want to eat today? What do you want to cook today? You know, what do you want to help cook today? You know, that stuff he's learned, you know, and that's one of those things that parents have to relinquish a little bit. So, you know, he wants to go to McDonald's. I call them McStinkies. I said, knock yourself out. I'll take you to McDonald's. I don't want it. You know, if that's what you want, knock yourself out. But, you know, and that's just one of those things that are tough.
Yeah.
Those things that are tough to let that, I think it's parents' independence. you
Right.
know.
Mm-hmm.
But also, fast forward to just a few years ago when you were sick.
Yes.
He was able to help take care of the house and help take care of you while
Absolutely.
you were
Wow.
down because you had already established all of this
Absolutely.
ahead of time. And had you been sick and not had done that, it would have looked a lot different. You would have had
my
to lean on
goodness.
Uncle Andy. You would have had to lean on Sarah. You would
Right.
have had to lean on Hannah to come down
Right.
and to help him, and you didn't have to because actually he was able to
Absolutely.
take that role on
Yes.
and do those things.
And he ran with it. He ran with it, you know.
Did.
We never had to worry about laundry being caught up, you know, dishes piling up, you know.
You
He
did
was
it,
on
didn't you, bud?
Tyson, you
Yes,
do
I
you did
did.
better than me. I
Scheduled
need
for
to
my
learn
medicines,
some
you
from
know.
you.
He was on it. He was, Dad, it's this time, you know. He's
But that routine, that consistent routine,
excuse me.
you do really well with that. And the phone alarms, that really helps you then.
Yep. Absolutely. It's all about a routine. It's all about a
And
routine.
it started with notes and alarms, and I think it's dwindled down to like it's just a habit
Yeah,
right now.
right.
And so I'm sure there still are some alarms because we all rely on that and calendar things. But I think it's awesome. So we have a lot of families that are working families, and they sometimes have to stay and wait to put their kids on the bus or get home early to get their kids off of the bus. And so talk a little bit about what routine you had in place for that, because I think a lot of our families would like to leave for work and get to work on time and knowing that their kiddo can get on the bus okay.
Absolutely. A lot of stuff we would the night before, you know, meal prep the day before, the evening before, but he can have his clothes laid out. So he gets up in the morning, he knows what he's going to wear. He's not going to have to go digging through the closet, you know, and worry about being late. You know, he knows the bus is going to be there at 7:30, so by 7:15, he needs to be standing by the door with his backpack on, keys in his pocket, phone in his pocket, wallet in his pocket, that he's ready to go. You know, he needed to make sure that the door was locked. If we were using the garage door opener, he'd take the garage door opener with him and, you know, make sure the garage
You're
door was
so
shut.
responsible.
He is.
He really is, and it's very impressive. The leaps and bounds that he made, and that's a testament to who he is.
Yeah, it is. It's your character too.
Yeah, and you know, getting on the bus himself, you know, the bus driver would be looking for him, and he you know, we'd go through the routine where the bus is going to stop, you know, what time he's going to be home.
Right.
You know, and if his bus was running a little bit late, they had a trouble student or something, or, you know, traffic was bad, he would call me or text me and say, hey, Daddy, I'm running a little late, but I'm going to be home. As soon as I get home, I will let you know that I'm in the house. And, you know, then after he got in the house, you know, book bag comes off, you know, and he wants to kick off his shoes and relax, which is fine, you know, but he, you know, 6 o'clock comes around, it's time I got to get my dinner ready.
Yeah.
You know, then I'm going to take my shower, then I'm get ready for bed, you know.
Right.
That's so good.
You're awesome.
Thank
I
you.
love it.
You're so awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tyson, for coming and telling your story with your dad. I appreciate that because I've always said that your dad was gonna be on my parent panel and he was gonna share it to the world, and here we are. We're gonna share it to the world right now.
It's very doable. You just got to step out. You know,
Yeah.
we talk about stepping outside your comfort zone. And as a parent, that's difficult to do sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's very worthwhile. It'll change your life too. It takes a whole lot of stress
Yeah.
out of your life.
It does.
Yes.
Over time. It might be initial stress, but over time it feels real good.
Oh yes, absolutely, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And now you're retired now, but
Yep.
it got to a point you didn't have to go and check in the windows. and
Right,
make
right,
sure.
absolutely,
So-
absolutely.
It's come a long way. You're doing way better than me.
Thank you.
And me too.
Thank you.
Well, thank you guys so much for being on today.
Our pleasure. If you ever need us again, just
Yes.
don't hesitate to yell at us.
Oh, that would be amazing. Especially if we just had Tyson, the special guest.
What do you think about that? We can talk about being an uncle.
Oh,
Okay.
That would be pretty good. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. And again, if you have a topic that you'd be interested in hearing more about, you can comment below, and we'll have some resources and also notes from this podcast in the description. Well, we will see you soon.
Bye.
If you would like to learn more about Upside Down Mercantile, you can go to shopupsidedown.com or visit us on Commercial Street in Springfield, Missouri. If you have a topic you'd like to know more about, you can email them to info@dsgo.life.